Did you know that Saudi Arabia shocked all religious people with something unbelievable? Imagine a place known for its scorching heat and endless desert suddenly transforming into a lush green landscape. It sounds like something out of a fantasy, right? But it's real. After heavy rainfall, streets in Jeddah were flooded, causing chaos. But what's even more astonishing is how this arid land turned into a vibrant oasis. Camels grazing on fresh grass, once barren hills now covered in greenery. It's like nature hit the refresh button. These mind-boggling transformations even caught the attention of NASA. So let's dive into this video today to explore these strange natural phenomena in Saudi Arabia and uncover the mysteries behind them. Here we begin. In Saudi Arabia, something remarkable is happening. Since December 2022, the country has been experiencing unusually high rainfall. This rain keeps coming, lasting longer than before. The western region in particular has become a sea of green. Dry areas are now covered in lush plants, rivers flow where there were only depressions, and lakes teem with life. Even cities like Mecca, Jeddah, and Medina are adorned with greenery. You can see this amazing transformation from space thanks to NASA's satellite images. But that's not all. Recently, Saudi Arabia witnessed another rare event: snowstorms and hail in the desert. It's not every day you see snow in the desert. This unexpected weather caused quite a stir among the locals and became a sensation on social media. Photographer Osama Al-Habri captured the moment, describing it as a historic ice storm. Such intense winter weather in the desert is a rare phenomenon, happening only once in many years. In the B Desert area of Saudi Arabia, visitors are flocking to witness the frozen landscape firsthand. However, the weather forecast predicts something unexpected. The Saudi Arabian National Meteorological Center forecasts moderate to heavy rain in the Medina area. This rainfall, accompanied by wind, low visibility, and hail, creates winter-like conditions. The erratic weather changes in Saudi Arabia, leading to the desert turning green, have left many people puzzled. Some fear that these natural phenomena are a consequence of human actions. Others interpret it as a divine message. They wonder if nature's response is a sign of God's anger or a revelation of his presence. In Muslim tradition, the Prophet Muslim mentioned that the final hour wouldn't come until Arabia reverted to meadows and rivers. Insights from tradition. Analyzing this statement provides interesting insights. Firstly, the term revert implies that Arabia was once green, with abundant meadows and rivers. Secondly, it suggests that Arabia will retransition from a dry desert to a wetter land. This perspective from Muslim tradition adds depth to the interpretation of the current environmental changes occurring in Saudi Arabia. The mystery of green Arabia. For years, scholars grappling with the history of human migration faced a puzzling question. How did early humans traverse Arabia, a vast and inhospitable desert, to spread across the world? Crossing such a barren landscape seemed impossible. However, recent discoveries have shed light on this enigma. Researchers have unearthed a surprising revelation in recent years. Arabia wasn't always a desert. It was once a lush land, teeming with greenery and abundant rainfall. This discovery revolutionizes our understanding of the region's history. Michael Petraglia, a key figure in the archaeological Green Arabia project, explains the significance of these findings. By analyzing satellite images, researchers have identified thousands of ancient rivers crisscrossing Saudi Arabia and around 10,000 ancient lakes. Fossil evidence further confirms this verdant past, with remnants of giant elephants and even hippos indicating a flourishing ecosystem. These discoveries challenge previous assumptions about Arabia's landscape and its role in early human migration. The image of a dry and desolate desert gives way to one of a vibrant and thriving environment, offering new insights into the journeys of our ancestors. The discovery of hippo fossils in Arabia provides valuable insights into the region's ancient climate. Hippos, known for their preference for lush and wet environments, could not survive in dry conditions. Therefore, their presence suggests that Arabia was once abundant with lakes, rivers, and greenery. The abundance of lakes, rivers, and vegetation needed to sustain hippos indicates a significantly wetter climate in ancient Arabia. This points to a landscape vastly different from today's arid desert. Prophecies of a green Arabia. Looking towards the future, some wonder if Arabia will return to its verdant state. To understand this possibility, we must explore the factors that originally led to its greening. Experts suggest that regular monsoon rains played a crucial role. Around 150,000 years ago, the Indian Ocean monsoon brought heavy rainfall to Arabia every 23,000 years, fostering life and greenery. Evidence from sediment deposits and fossil dating supports the existence of 5 wet phases in Arabia's history. During these periods, the monsoon brought life-sustaining rains to the region, transforming the landscape into a green paradise. An intriguing aspect emerges when we consider the timing of the monsoon cycles. The monsoon appeared approximately every 23,000 years, with the most recent wet phase occurring around 55,000 years ago. This means that we are overdue for another wet phase by about 32,000 years, if the cycle continues as before. With this understanding, the question arises: when will the next wet phase occur? It could happen at any moment, as the monsoon has the potential to return to Arabia. Human intervention could also influence this process independently or in conjunction with natural forces. What makes this even more remarkable is that the Prophet Muhammad spoke of a flourishing green Arabia long before modern scientific methods could uncover such secrets. This suggests a prophetic anticipation of environmental changes, even though the lush period of Arabia's past had been forgotten over time. The knowledge of Arabia's verdant past remained buried beneath the sands of time until recent archaeological discoveries shed light on it. The Prophet's foresight into this forgotten chapter of history highlights the depth of his understanding and the relevance of his teachings in the modern age. Muslim beliefs and Christian perspectives. While Muslims view the phenomenon of desert blooming as a manifestation of God's will, Christians interpret it differently. In Christian tradition, the desert bloom holds significance in biblical narratives, particularly the story of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt. According to the Bible, after generations of slavery in Egypt, the Israelites embarked on a journey through the desert, guided by divine intervention. One remarkable event was the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea, which facilitated their escape. However, sustaining such a large group of people and their livestock in a barren and waterless wasteland challenges the account's credibility. Recent weather patterns in desert regions offer insights into this biblical narrative. Springtime, when most precipitation occurs in deserts like Sinai and the Negev of Israel, provides vital resources. Even today, spring rains replenish drinking water sources and spur plant growth. While these rains are typically modest, occasional heavy rainfall events lead to the desert blooming for a short period. While Muslims see desert blooms as divine providence, Christians perceive them as natural phenomena with spiritual significance. The greening of the desert. Now imagine the desert adorned with a lush carpet of green vegetation and vibrant wildflowers. Such conditions would have provided the Israelites a much more hospitable environment during their journey. While the Bible recounts the Israelites traversing dry desert regions after the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea, it also mentions instances where water was miraculously provided. The text mentions 2 specific campsites, Marah and Alim, where the Israelites faced a scarcity of water before reaching Mount Sinai. However, these instances are the only times the lack of water is explicitly mentioned between Egypt and Mount Sinai. Before the sea crossing, the Israelites are described as crossing a significant wilderness, as referenced in Exodus 14:3. This passage indicates that Pharaoh perceived them as wandering in the land, with the wilderness acting as a barrier. The exodus from Egypt commenced after the Passover, marking the beginning of the journey on the 15th day of the first month of the Hebrew calendar. Regardless of the specific type of wilderness crossed, the biblical narrative underscores the miraculous nature of the Israelites' journey through challenging terrain. So in the biblical narrative, The Israelites embarked on their journey during the spring, coinciding with the wet season in the Sinai and Negev regions. These areas typically receive the bulk of their annual rainfall during this time, leading to occasional blooms that transform the desert landscape for a brief period. The Bible provides glimpses of God's provision during this journey, depicting moments of divine intervention. In Psalms, God's manifestation before his people is described vividly, with the earth trembling and the heavens pouring down rain as God marches through the wilderness. We discern a symbolic significance in the desert's transformation through these passages. It symbolizes God's salvation for humanity, his abundant provision, and his care for the needy. The story of God leading his people across the desert serves as a testament to his grace and mercy, offering salvation to sinners and providing for his people's needs. In essence, the desert blooming phenomenon serves as a tangible manifestation of God's saving grace and ongoing presence in the lives of his people, demonstrating his power to bring life and sustenance even in the most barren places. In Isaiah 35, 1-2, we find a powerful prophecy depicting the transformation of the wilderness and desert into flourishing landscapes as a manifestation of God's redeeming power. The verses evoke imagery of abundant flowers, lush greenery, and joyful singing, symbolizing the restoration and renewal that God promises to his people. The passage reassures believers that God will always be present to guide and accompany them amidst life's challenges and journeys. Isaiah 43:19 further emphasizes God's promise of renewal and transformation, assuring his people that he will make a way even in the most desolate of places. Historical parallel: God's promise to make a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert echoes his past acts of deliverance, such as the Exodus from Egypt. Just as God provided a path through the Red Sea during the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, he pledges to make a way for his people through their current trials and tribulations. During their return from exile in Babylon, the Lord assured his people that he would provide all they needed to leave Babylon and re-establish their home in the Promised Land. Even when circumstances seem impossible, God makes a way for those who trust in him, just like streams in the desert. The imagery of streams in the desert is a recurring theme in Scripture, symbolizing God's provision and sustenance for his people. In Isaiah 41, the Lord promises to supply the needs of the poor and needy, transforming barren landscapes into flourishing oases. God pledges to quench his people's thirst and turn desolate places into sources of abundance. Just as he provided rivers on barren heights and springs within valleys, he promises to turn the desert into pools of water and parched ground into springs. Jesus further emphasized the concept of divine provision through the gift of his Spirit, likening it to living water. He invites all who are thirsty to come to him and drink, offering spiritual nourishment and refreshment to those who seek him. Jesus proclaimed that whoever believes in him will experience rivers of living water flowing from within them, as foretold in Scripture. He used a similar metaphor when speaking to the Samaritan woman, promising that those who drink the water he gives will never thirst again, but will have eternal life. In Isaiah's vision, the desert bursts into life, symbolizing new beginnings and the abundant blessings of God. This flourishing abundance signifies the presence and power of God, bringing healing and transformation to those who are weary, enfeebled, or fearful. Again, Isaiah's prophecy foretells specific acts of restoration, including sight for the blind, hearing for the deaf, and speech for the mute. The profound joy and healing are so great that the lame leap and the speechless sing, reflect the miraculous transformation brought about by God's presence. This prophecy of restoration to a captive people finds its ultimate fulfillment in Jesus. He embodies the promise of spiritual renewal, bringing healing, transformation, and eternal life to all who believe in him. John's expectation and Jesus' ministry. John the Baptist had prophesied about the coming of someone greater than himself. While imprisoned, John sent messengers to Jesus, questioning if he was the awaited one. Instead of a direct answer, Jesus let his actions speak. Through his ministry, the blind saw, the deaf heard, and the speechless spoke, fulfilling the promises of Isaiah. Despite the tangible signs of God's reign through Jesus' ministry, we still grapple with the tension between God's inaugurated reign and its final fulfillment. Even with modern advancements and the power of prayer, some remain unable to see, hear, walk, or speak. Death continues to be a reality for us all. Yet amidst these challenges, we hold on to the hope of resurrection. We proclaim Christ's death and resurrection, anticipating his return. While we may not see all things restored in this life, we trust in the promise of new life and restoration in the future kingdom of God. During Advent, we focus on different moments when Christ came into the world. We think about Christ coming as a baby to Mary and Joseph, coming to be baptized by John, and coming at the end of time. This time is like a journey where we wait for something special to happen. The letter of James talks about being patient, like a farmer waiting for crops to grow. It says that rain helps the crops to grow and become mature. Even unexpected rain in the desert can bring new life, just like how God brings hope in difficult times. In a world filled with problems like hunger, poverty, and homelessness, we long for someone who can bring us salvation and new life. Just like the exiles of Israel and the followers of John the Baptist, we seek hope and renewal. The promise of God's love and mercy gives us strength. We experience a new beginning through Christ, like being immersed in water and coming out transformed. This transformation doesn't just happen to us, it affects the whole world. Just as water brings life to barren places, God's intervention brings hope even in the most unexpected ways, like in the affluent nation of the United States. Utah's water usage. In Utah, people use much more water than the rest of the United States, even though it's one of the driest states. On average, Americans use about 80 to 100 gallons of water daily, but in Utah, each person uses around 248 gallons daily. This excessive water use isn't just because of long showers or wasteful habits. Various factors, including religious beliefs and historical ambitions, influence it. In Utah, there's a strong desire to transform the desert landscape, rooted in biblical prophecy and state history. People in Utah have long believed in fulfilling the Isaiah 35, one prophecy about making the wilderness rejoice and blossom like a rose. This prophecy holds deep significance, especially as it's interpreted to be fulfilled in the last days. One reason for Utah's high water consumption is that water is relatively cheap, and many cities charge flat rates instead of tiered pricing based on usage. Using less water means lower bills in other places, but that's not the case in Utah. This pricing system might encourage more water use, contributing to the state's unusually high consumption levels. The state subsidizes water through property taxes, which means people don't have much incentive to conserve it. Experts and conservationists often face opposition from lawmakers and water providers when they suggest using less water. Early settlers in Utah saw themselves as akin to the Israelites journeying through the desert, led by their own American Moses. They invested in colonizing and reclaiming the land, turning the desert into fertile ground for agriculture. Despite challenges like St. George's arid climate with minimal rainfall, the region thrived. Despite its dry climate and proximity to Las Vegas, St. George manages to be lush and vibrant. This may be due to its high water consumption, ranging from 289 to 325 gallons per person per day. Unlike the northern part of the state with its ski resorts, St. George has transformed its desert environment into a green paradise. Presently, the water supply for places like St. George comes from the Virgin River, a Lake Mead tributary, a reservoir on the Colorado River. Despite challenges, people persist in their efforts to make the desert flourish. However, this practice sparks controversy. While some view it as wasteful and unnecessary, others see it as a natural and necessary endeavor, guided by their interpretation of biblical teachings. Perspectives on Desert Transformation. When considering the transformation of deserts, opinions vary widely. Some view it as a resource misuse, while others view it as fulfilling a divine directive. This raises questions about our responsibilities towards the environment and how we interpret religious texts. When we imagine Arabia, we often imagine vast expanses of sand, towering dunes, and scorching sunlight. In the desert, the horizon blends seamlessly with the earth, creating a harsh environment where both plants and animals struggle to survive under the relentless heat. It's difficult to imagine this barren landscape bursting with life. Despite its dry and desolate appearance, the desert teems with life, serving as a testament to God's presence and power. Abundant water brings forth new life, transforming the once barren land into a vibrant tapestry of fragrant flowers. The transformation of the desert reflects God's boundless love for the world, epitomized by the sacrifice of His Son, Jesus Christ, for humanity's salvation. Whether through the abundance of water or the blossoming of the desert, God's presence is revealed in unexpected ways, guiding us back to His embrace across the arid wilderness. So what do you think of the shocking prophecies fulfilling in Saudi Arabia that shocked all religious people? Comment below and subscribe for more.